Can't believe it. After all this dicking around with this camera, I can just press the red button and it starts to record. Anyhow, I'm so cheap I squeak. I'm repairing this rake that my diligent worker wore right out. So, I'm going to show you how to repair a rake if you're really cheap. Put the camera down, resting the lens very carefully on the pair of pliers that I'm going to remove in a second. You crank up your little mini torch. Oh, it's so cold the torch won't even work. Ding, ding, ding. Make sure the camera is aimed properly. And you heat up the tines so they're smoking. You bend them over like that. Heat it up a little more. Pretty resilient plastic, made in USA. You spray a little bit of water. There. That's how you save a torch from the dumpster. I mean, a torch. A rake! There. Oh, yeah. A dual angle. See it a little bit better. Is it worth saving a $5 rake? I don't know. If you go to the store, you get distracted, you start buying DeWalt drills and PEX plumbing, and you install your PEX plumbing and you get a report that it doesn't meet code because the PEX goes into the pipe instead of outside the pipe, as if those stupid temperature and pressure release valves ever do anything except leak. But codes is codes. La-di-da. I'm so cheap I squeak. There. How's that look? Turn off our torch. It's a little better. Now our guy can get back to work and rake the yard. No excuses. Want to buy a Malibu? I got to change the control arm on it. That roof's going to have to be changed soon enough. It's getting kind of thin. 15-year shingles, and we've owned the property 15 years. I guess it's about time for new shingles. Thanks for looking. I'm going to go back to my toilet job. Alright, the rake is fixed. Now the acid test. Without dropping this camera, I'm going to try and dump some water down the drain and see if this plastic Schedule 20 junk plumbing leaks. Schedule 20 freaking plumbing junk. Any leaks? Sure hope not. I used adhesive instead of Teflon compound. $10 faucet. Junk. Can't turn the water on yet. I'll show you why. I can't turn it on because of that uncapped. Sheesh. Crack. Whoa. Uncapped pipes. So, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. Gotta go. You know, I can't even see what's going on here without the camera. I can't get my fat head behind here. Too fat. Keep some water here in case I catch something on fire. Oh, where the frig is the torch? Oh man, forgot it again. Alright, plumbing time. Oh yeah, by the way, there's the red button. Right there. I used to go through a whole bunch of menus. All I have to do is press that red button. When you put a toilet flange down, these bolts are loose, and sometimes they can even fall into the floor and disappear. These can't because there's a floor underneath. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop a washer on. I tried to explain this once to my brother. He couldn't understand it. I'm going to tighten these bolts to the flange, so when you drop your toilet in place, the bolts can't come loose and wiggle and get lost or drop in the floor. Sometimes they give you a little nylon gizmo to hold the bolts from falling, but I'm going to use a galvanized washer and a zinc plated nut. And I'll get my wrench. Where's the wrench? And a pair of pointy nose pliers. New drill. Cool, huh? And I'm going to tighten this down. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Can't get any work done. It's voting day today in the USA. Who are people going to vote for? What the Americans have in their voting system is exit polling, where you can ask people as they leave the voting building, which they call a polling place. It's kind of interesting. Kind of a simple term, polling place. You can ask them who they voted for. Where some countries, most countries, exclude the area a couple hundred feet around the exit of the polling place. They exclude it of reporters or people asking questions of who someone may have voted for. Exit polling. And now, if I've lined up my bolts in the slots of the floor flange, and I hope these bolts are long enough because I added 3/8 to the floor. I'm going to take a tape measure. I forgot. You don't have to over tighten them. That's it. Now I hope it's tall enough for my toilet, which I'm going to use the old one. Alright. Wiggle, wiggle. Anyhow. Put the camera behind the toilet, and as you can see, the toilet's right here. I'll lift up this antique November 6th, 1965. Wow. 1955, pardon me, 1955. And there it comes. Let's see if the bolts are long enough. Yep. I'll put my seal on. Why do I wear gloves? Why do I wear gloves? Because I'm handling a friggin' toilet with slime on it. Unmentionables. Oh yeah. Bolts down in the front. So I'm going to check my alignment. And the hammer drill into the ceramic tile. Trusty pencil. There's the lanyard. out of the way. All right. It gets better over there. You can watch me drop it. I was once changing a toilet for my sister, and she lived in a concrete condominium, and I dropped it on the concrete floor, blew it up, threw it back in the box, and brought it back, said it was broken already. Look at this. Saw my light, didn't you? Laser beam. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. With hammer. Click. That's walking. That's not good. Oh boy. This ain't gonna be so easy. I don't have a small one. Let's start with a pilot one. Lithium-ion. There, it's up against the solder. Bingo. Next hole. Listen to that. What a crappy noise. See what I'm doing? Yep. So this fellow in Norway was telling me a story about importing trucks from the United States, and there's a loophole in the law. If it only has 2 seats, then there's a tax exemption. You don't have to pay the exorbitant customs duties. So guys bring in vehicles, they wait for the first inspection, and they add the seats to it to avoid paying the huge tax. Alright, I'll get the toilet and bolt it in place. See you in a bit. Alright, I'm going to grab my flange I've already removed from the package. Some people put this on the toilet, some don't. Whatever. Make sure it's centered. You drop your toilet on top of the bolts, make sure it's centered, and you wiggle it down. You don't use the bolts to tie it down, tighten it down, because you'll break the 1955 porcelain. That's it. A couple nuts on there, put your bolts in the front. I like that old idea. And look how close that is. Oh well. Make sure this is taken apart and put back on with a new gasket or silicone or whatever. And we'll flush her down. Cool, huh? Maybe later on today or tomorrow I'm going to head out to the country, to the Red House, and I'm going to show Fixin Bathroom how the pitless well connector works to get the water out of the casing into the ground, into the house. And pitless doesn't stand for pit, as in hole in the ground. It stands for anti-corrosion. It doesn't pit, pitless. Because if you read the French in the box, it says anti-corrosion, which is anti-corrosion, duh. Bolts aren't long enough. I'll head off to Old Bouchon Hardware or True Value for some longer bolts. See you in a bit. Commode.